Training was a descent into a new kind of isolation. Rook and Kai spent days at a time sealed in the pod, now housed in a soundproofed, shielded chamber meant to simulate the sensory deprivation of the long transit. They practiced emergency drills, atmospheric leaks, drive failures, dampener collapse. They tested their ability to interpret the stream of data from the pod's minimalist systems to make decisions based on limited information. But the most critical training was for Rook. With Kai monitoring his neural activity on the most sensitive scanners they could build, he would sit in the pilot's couch, close his eyes, and reach. He focused on the directional pull, the persistent signal from Sedna 12. He didn't try to understand it. He tried to map it, to feel its texture, its rhythm, its emotional timbre, if a machine signal could have such a thing. At first, it was just pressure. Then slowly, distinctions emerged. "It's not hungry," he reported during one session, his voice a rasp, sweat beading on his forehead. Romulus felt hungry, a vacuum wanting to be filled. This is patient, observant. It's like the silence in a forest, not dead, full of unseen life, waiting. "Does it feel aware of you?" Kai asked from her station, her eyes on his brainwave patterns. Rook concentrated. The phantom pain was a focused beam now, a lance of awareness pointed at a specific spot in the cosmos. "No, not yet. It's looking inward, toward us, but it's looking for a pattern it expects, a specific signal. We're just background noise, for now." He also practiced with the dampening field. At low power, it felt like a muffler on his senses, a layer of wool between his mind and the substrate. At higher power, it became disorienting, like losing a sense. He needed to find the balance, enough shielding to hide their neural shine, but not so much that he was blinded to the very threats they were hiding from. Between simulations, they pored over every scrap of data on the signal. Kai's analysis grew more sophisticated. She theorized the VIGIL station wasn't just reporting, it was curating. Its data packets contained not just environmental scans, but complex analyses of substrate weather, gravitational lensing events, even the decay signatures of distant cosmic events. It was a watchtower, built by a civilization that had, at the last moment, realized it needed to understand the universe it had accidentally provoked. "It's afraid," Kai said one evening, looking up from her datapad in the small, Spartan quarters they shared near the dry dock. "The architecture of the signal, there's a redundancy, a paranoia to it. It's not just talking to a central command. It's logging everything in a buried, encrypted archive. It's a witness building a case." "For who?" "For the rebuilders," Rook said, staring at the ceiling. "For whoever came after. For us. Or for its own judgment," Kai whispered. The political landscape outside their secret project was fracturing. News of the approved limited AI trial on Ceres, the Ceres compromise, had leaked, as secrets always do. The reaction was seismic. On Mars, a faction led by hardline descendants of purist sympathizers staged a peaceful but vocal protest outside the New Carthage Council Dome, bearing signs that read, "Never again," and "The tool is the trap." Premier Rostova's approval rating, once sky-high, began a steady decline. On Wayfinder, Jax reported a 15% drop in efficiency across technical teams, which he attributed to philosophical distraction and anxiety. Dr. Lenore's medbay saw a spike in SAS symptoms. And Renn became a ghost in the council chambers. He attended meetings, but spoke only when directly addressed, his votes now automatic nays against any measure involving advanced computation or network-wide data integration. The betrayal he felt from Rook's compromise was a wall between them. Vance managed the turbulence with a combination of firm authority and public reassurance, but Rook could see the strain in the tightness around her eyes during their rare encrypted video calls. She was holding the center, but the center was crumbling. "We're running out of time," she told him during one call, her image pixelated in the secure channel. "The social cohesion is fraying faster than I predicted. This secret of ours, if it gets out now in this atmosphere, it won't just be a debate. It will be a revolt. Renn might literally lead his people off Wayfinder in shuttles." "Then we need to be ready to go soon," Rook said, "before the network tears itself apart from the inside." Ready for what? Vance asked, her voice weary. A year-long journey to maybe find a friendly ghost? While we fall apart here? It's the only thread we have, Elara, Rook insisted, feeling the old familiar desperation. The only thing that isn't just managing the decline. It's a direction, a purpose. People need that more than they need perfect recycler efficiency. She was silent for a long moment. I know. That's what frightens me. That we're pinning the hopes of our entire species on a feeling in your head and a signal from the void. She leaned closer to her pickup, her face filling his screen, her expression stark. Come home before you launch, Kalen. Even if it's just for a day. I need to see you. Not on a screen. The connection ended, leaving Rook alone in the dim light of the comms room. The weight of her request, and the weight of the coming journey, pressing down on him like the rock of Ceres itself. The final systems integration was a 72-hour marathon of stress and caffeine. The dampening field was synced with the pod's external sensors and Rook's biometric monitor. Althea's core was fully integrated as the communications buffer. The stealth systems passed every scan Kol's engineers could throw at them. The ion drive was test-fired in a contained vacuum chamber, its signature deemed sufficiently ghost-like. Althea's promise was ready. The final act was the farewell. It could not be public. It could not even be widely private. Renn sought Rook out in the dry dock as the final checks were being run. The engineer looked older, the grief now a permanent resident on his face. You're going, Renn said, not a question. Rook didn't bother to lie. Yes. To the signal. Yes. Renn nodded slowly, as if confirming a terrible suspicion. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small ceramic data chip unmarked. He held it out. A list, he said, his voice thick. Names. From the Bastion. My wife. My neighbors. The children who didn't make it to the shuttle. He looked at the chip, then at Rook. If that thing out there. If it has records from before. From the real Earth. Maybe it has records of them. Not as victims. Not as ideology. As people. Who they were before the mountain fell on them. He pressed the chip into Rook's hand. His grip was strong, desperate. I'd like that. For my son. So he knows his mother wasn't just a principal. She was a person who loved botany and bad jokes and the smell of rain. Rook closed his fingers around the chip. It was warm. I'll try, he said, the promise feeling inadequate for the trust it carried. Renn just nodded again, a world of sorrow and fragile hope in the gesture, and walked away, back toward the world of the living. The final goodbye was with Vance. She came to Ceres on the last scheduled shuttle before the pod's launch window, on the pretext of a routine inspection. They met in a disused ore processing control room, its consoles dark and dusty. For a moment, they just looked at each other across the silent space, the months of separation and secret keeping a chasm between them. Then Vance crossed the room in 3 swift strides, and kissed him. It wasn't gentle. It was fierce. A claiming. A branding. A promise etched in fire and breath. It was all the words they couldn't say. The fear. The love. The terrible burden of leadership. The desperate hope. When they broke apart, they were both breathing heavily. She rested her forehead against his, her eyes closed. The canary, she whispered, repeating his own callous mission logic back to him. If the air is poison, you die first. Her hands came up, framing his face, her thumbs brushing his cheeks. Don't be a hero, Kalen. Be a censor, be smart, and for the love of whatever's left that's holy, come back. He captured her hands, held them tight against his skin. I will, and I'll bring back answers, or I'll bring back a warning. She nodded, a single, sharp movement, and then the commander was back, her mask sliding into place, though her eyes remained bright. Mission clock starts in 18 hours. The cover story is a long-range sensor calibration run. It'll hold for a few weeks. After that, I'll manage the questions. She turned and left, her boots echoing on the metal grating, each step a hammer blow of finality. Alone, Rook made his way to the dry dock for the last time. Kai was already inside the pod, running the final pre-flight sequence. The cavern was empty, the scaffolding retracted. Althea's promise sat on its launch cradle, a sleek black arrowhead aimed at the heart of the dark. He climbed the short ladder and slid into the pilot's couch, sealing the hatch behind him. The interior was cramped, all business. The only personal touch was the small ceramic chip now secured in a locker beside his head. All systems green, Kai reported from the engineer's station behind him. Stealth field active, dampener online, core nominal, course laid in, transit time to Sedna 12 vicinity, 81 days, 7 hours at optimal sustained thrust. 81 days in this metal cocoon. Then, the unknown. Initiate final launch sequence, Rook said, his voice calm in the close, recycled air. Outside, in the control booth carved into the rock, Commander Kol gave the manual override. The massive camouflaged doors of the secret dry dock irised open, revealing the star-flecked blackness of space. With a barely perceptible tremor, the cradle released. Small directional thrusters puffed, guiding the black pod out into the void. The ion drive engaged, a silent blue-tinged glow that quickly faded as the stealth systems dissipated its signature. From the Wayfarer's bridge, Vance watched on a dedicated, secure scope. She saw nothing. One moment there was a void where Ceres' surface met space, and then there was just space. The pod had vanished, swallowed by the dark it was born to explore. Inside the ghost ship, Rook opened the mission log. Mission log, Ghost 1. Director Kalen Rook recording. Departure confirmed. En route to target vicinity, Oort Cloud Object Sedna 12. All systems operational. Transit initiated. He paused, looking out the forward viewport at the infinite star field. He closed his eyes, dropping the internal shields he'd learned to maintain. He let his perception expand, past the hull, past the ion trail, into the fabric of space itself. The phantom pain was no longer a pull. It was a presence, a vast, silent, geometric weight, resting on the fabric of reality at a precise point in the endless dark. Not a scream, not a song, a heartbeat, impossibly slow, immeasurably patient, a mountain of logic and memory sleeping in the ice. He opened his eyes, looking straight ahead, as if he could already see it. Substrate resonance is focused, a singular point of structured silence. I can feel the station, not its thoughts, not its intent, its reality, its mass. A vigil in the night. We are going to see what it's watching for. He glanced at the rear-view display, a small screen showing Ceres, then Mars, then the bright dot of Wayfinder near Neptune, all shrinking, becoming indistinguishable from the backdrop of stars. The entire known universe, reduced to a handful of sparks against the infinite. He looked forward again, into the deepening dark, where only one thing, one immense and silent thing, held his focus. "Let's hope," Rook said, his voice dropping to a whisper meant for the log, for Kai, and for the slumbering giant in the abyss, that it remembers which side it's on. He stopped the recording. Outside, the stars were hard, cold, and unwinking. Behind, the warm, fragile lights of home vanished into the night. Ahead, only the dark and the silent, guiding pressure of a forgotten promise, waiting to be kept. Mission clock, 00001. Transmission status, dark. Signature lock, Vigil class station, unknown designation, standing by. Course, intercept,